Hello everyone, welcome. In this video, I'm gonna make this design. There will be timestamp below. Use it to watch any desirable segment. By the way, this is the final result. If you like what you are seeing, continue watching. Alright, so this design, this complete design has three main parts, three main sections. The first one is quite tricky. So let's start, of course, from the top one. So I'm going to first add a rectangle to make a rectangle, and then I'm going to add points like that. Then select those points and drag it down with holding shift, and this one a bit longer because this is going to be the neck hole and this is going to be the arm hole. Right now just concentrate making the base shape, then we're going to make something beautiful like this. And let's curve it with curve point tool, also this one, and then I'm going to just make it a little bit downward. I'm going to do is Control C and Control V to the other side, and then right click, flip normal, and just put it in the back. Select both, Control D to symmetric paste to the other side. And with segment sewing, I'm going to sew the front, sew the back, and sew the shoulder seam for now. I just leave the side seam for a moment. First I'm going to drape it by pressing space on your keyboard, and as you can see this is way too short. I am not sure why I made this short, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, something like that. And then I'm going to sew the side seam. It's still very short, so I'm going to just make it a bit longer. Something like that. Now this looks pretty odd. Let's fix it a little bit. I'm gonna start fixing from the back neckline. So I'm gonna select that, select this point, and just drag it up, something like that, and then adjust the neckline to something like that. And then I'm gonna just make the armhole a bit better because this is pretty bad. So I'm going to select this and make it something like that, something like this. Okay, as you can see the side seam looks pretty angled, but I want it straight. So you can just select this and just move it like that, and it will be straight, something like that. And then select everything and make it a bit sideways because the side seam is pretty important. Cool, looking okay. All right, so now I'm gonna do one thing. As you can see from the side, this is quite an angle, but I want it pretty straight. So I select this one and then move it upward, and then I'm gonna move this a little bit downward, something like that. Okay, now I'm gonna select this, then right click, rotate y-axis, and I want to make this straight. Also same with that, so I just want to make it straight, then like that. Then select both with transform point and edit tool. You can find it here. Double click and just push it back, so they will be a little bit tighter, which I want. Maybe a little bit more tight. Yep. And now just you can again rotate this where it should be. Now as you can see, this is quite, you don't want this like this, right? So just add a curve and just adjust this position there until you have something a bit nice. I think I'm gonna make this word and just try to make it straight. Also select that and just go with this, and let's fix it like that. So this should be relatively straight, not like there shouldn't be any pointy thing. Yeah, something like that. I'm going to select all and just move it a little bit upward, probably around this area. Okay, as you can see, this area has a little bit excess fabric because of the bust area, but we'll solve it. Don't worry about it. I think it looks good, but I want to make the back neckline a little bit upward. Something like that. And also very important, as you can see, the shoulder seam is quite in the back area. I want it around this area. So I'm going to select both, then right click on this one, match up to start. And I'm going to select all the shoulder seam and move it in the front. So they are around this area, and this should be something like that. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same thing, right click, match up to start, and let's rotate like that. Yep. Now, as you can see, the neckline, I'm going to just make it a bit nicer. Because I changes the shoulder seam, the neckline changes. Yep, that's the reason. Anyway, let's focus on the neckline, the front neckline. So I'm going to just make it around this. And now is the cool part. You have to make it like select everything, right click, and add solidify. This is very important. Otherwise, the shape will be bad. Just don't do it. Okay, so I'm thinking if I should add princess seam or just a regular dirt. All right, let's add a regular dirt. So I'm gonna select, add a point around here, and probably add a point around here. Yeah, I think maybe no, maybe add a point here, add a point here. Then I'm gonna add another point, but here right click, uniform split, so it has, so it stays in the middle. Hit OK. Now we have to find the bust point, which should be around here. So let's select that and drag it towards that point. And this shouldn't touch the bust point. It should be around 1 or 1.5 millimeter away from that. Something like that. And I'm gonna just sew it like that. But as you can see, this dirt legs are not the same. This is 72 and this is 83. So I have to make them same. So let's make it a bit bigger. So it should be around 783.7. Yep. And of course simulate. So you have a nice fitted garment, which is pretty important. Let me tell you, this is pretty important. Fitting is the most important thing. Now I want to make the armhole a little bit better because now this is very weird and pointy. So again, right click, rotate, y-axis, click that to make it straight. I assign this a hotkey, so just like that. As you can see, first of all, they are not the same, which is pretty odd. I'm not sure why. So I need to make them straight. Same. And you don't need to make this as something like that. This should be pretty rounded like this. And the fabric behaves a little bit different because of the solidify, but this is very important. I'm making sure the armhole looks better before making the sleeve. Okay, let's make the sleeve. So just add a rectangle like this, then add a point, make this like that. Then convert to curve point and then make this kind of shape. It doesn't matter how you make the sleeve pattern, just there are hundred, if not thousands, another way to make a sleeve pattern. But anyway, so I'm gonna segment sew, free sew like that. So I'm gonna sew it from like that, and then holding shift and like that. You always have to make sure that this two armhole, which is 4 and 17, should match with the sleeve gap, which is this. So this is now very smaller, so I'm going to make it a bit bigger, around like that. They should match. Let's put it on the arm. I like to freeze everything and then only unfreeze that, something like that. Now I'm gonna make a puff sleeve. Trust me, I really love puff sleeve a lot. Like, this is my favorite type of sleeve. But anyway, to make the puff sleeve, all I have to do is to increase the size of the sleeve gap, then this armhole length, then you will have puff sleeve. It's pretty simple. So I'm gonna just make it really big. I found that if you make this quite a big, you will have a good result. Probably you don't love puff sleeve, I'm not sure, but for me, I love it too much. Yeah, probably like that. Yep, I love this. Then I'm gonna just sew it like that, and you should make this smaller because this is how our hands are made. Maybe a little bit smaller. Yep. As you can see, when you make this smaller, this creates this oops, come on. This creates this angle, and that's why you have pointy things. And there is a general rule: don't make anything pointy where you have the round thing. So to fix that, all I have to do is just select the curve tool and just move it like this. There you go. You don't have the pointy thing anymore. Maybe a little bit smaller. Perfect. Yep. Now I'm going to add the sleeve cuff, which is, let's make it a bit, I'm going to make it a bit larger because, just wait a bit. Let's just right click and delete all curves. I don't want the curve right now. Let's make this a bit like this. Okay, let's add a little bit there. Now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a rectangle like this and put it around that, and sew it here, and now I'm gonna make this smaller, something like that. They shouldn't match, I mean, yeah. Okay, everything looks, I think, good. Cool. I'm gonna select all, then Control T to symmetric paste to the other side, and unfreeze everything. Now let's see from the very far. Yep, I think I love the design so far. Now, one thing you noticed, that this area where I added the dirt is kind of messed up. So I want to fix this. To fix this, you have to adjust this line and this line. Let's see. Around this, I want to make it pretty straight. You also want to select these points and just drag it like that. And you can also delete some curve points, because the less curve point, the easier it is to manage or adjust the shape, adjust the curves. Okay, so I want this as like this, but here should be smoother, and here also smoother. This other thing is very important, guys. I am telling you. Yes, of course I'm telling you. This looks very simple, but these are very important. Just trust me. And you have to spend like a lot of time fixing this thing. I think I love the shape. Yes, this is my process. I think a lot about the fittings. Now let's focus on the strap in the front. So I'm going to add points around this area, and probably the right click and probably 15 millimeter away. So this length or this measurement should be 15. And I'm gonna maybe leave around 50. Yep. And then yeah, 53 doesn't matter, but this matter. You have to make this 15. Also around here and 15. Yep, probably. And also here and at 15. There you go. Now I'm gonna add rectangle like this. Then this rectangle should be 15 as well. So 15, 15, 15. Yep. Then sew it like that, sew it like that. Okay, so when you add one strap, just simulate it and see the stretch. I mean, right click and reactivate the pattern and see how this is deforming the pattern. So if it's deforming too much, just make it a little bit wider. Don't make it too wide so it becomes like this. Just add a little bit, so it should remain, it should, I mean, stretch a little bit but not too much. So I'm gonna select that, Control C, Control V, and then sew it here, and see. Yep, this stretches a little bit, not too much. You can always just release some fabric and see, and if you see some folds like that, just make it a little bit tighter. And you should do it with all the straps. So I'm gonna select that, Control C, Control V. I'm gonna sew it like that, sew it like that. Should remain the crisscross pattern like this. And again, this is something that is very tight. So I'm gonna make it a bit looser. And let's see. Yep, and this is becoming a bit loose. I'm gonna tight things just a little. Probably maybe a bit more. Yeah. Now Control C, Control V, and let's sew it with that. Simulate. Oops, I think right click and reverse sewing. Again, it is stretching a little bit, so I'm gonna make it a little bit loose. Not very loose, so it's just do this thing. Probably a bit like that. Yep. Now, Control C, Control V again. Then I'm gonna sew it from here to here, And see, this is not stretching. Even I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. It should stretch a little bit, again I'm saying, but not too much. Now Control C, Control V, the last strap, something like this. And you have something like that, which looks pretty amazing. I love it, to be honest. So this is looking okay. Everything looks pretty nice for now. All right, now let's make the back, because back is really interesting. So I'm gonna just place my back pattern together, and I love to show the internal line, and let's add some, what is it called, the internal line, something like that. This looks pretty funny, so I'm going to select that and convert to curve point. So this should be around like this, should be like this. Yeah, this is a pretty wide cut, but this will enhance the design of the pattern of the dress. And yes, I left a little bit of pattern here. You will know why when I will make the middle portion. So yeah, this looks very amazing, and make sure you love the cut before you cut it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna select this, then right click, cut, and of course delete. And you know what, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller, because that's way too bigger, I think. Let's add a little bit there, and let's see, I want to add a little bit more. Yep, now cut and delete. The reason this cut is remaining its place or its position, because I added the solidify. If I just right click here and unsolidify, this happens. That's why I solidified it, and it should be solidified like this. So yeah, I love it. Amazing. Now let's make the lower part, I mean the middle portion. All right, so before going to the middle portion, I'm gonna select all the patterns and right click, freeze. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a rectangle pattern, something like that, and then I'm gonna use the segment sewing, and I'm gonna click first here. Just remember that I am clicking on the left side of my screen, not right side, left side. Then hold shift and do the left side, not the right side, like this. And I am holding the shift button here, again the left, not right, and here as well. There you go. Now very interesting thing. Now I'm gonna use hotkey B to select the edit sewing tool, and I'm going to select this first sewing of this. As you can see, this sewing is divided into 3 parts. So I'm going to select that and just move it to until it snaps. That means same measurement, and we want this. I'm going to drag this out to there until it snaps, and also here, and I'm going to also here. Then with the edit sewing tool, I'm going to right click on that and add point to pattern on end. So I get the point exactly where this sewing is ending. So I'm going to select the internal polygon line and just drag it a straight line like this. Then right click and cut. Yeah, there are better ways to do this. Like you can select all 3 and then just calculate the measurement, which is 319.6, and you can also do the same here. But yeah, so I'm gonna place it there. So of course, simulate, of course. And then Control D to symmetric paste. And I'm gonna sew it like that. And then it's very important, the placement. So this is the narrowest point of the waist, and I want a little bit lower. I mean, it's way too lower. I want around here, probably. Let's just drag this because I don't want any kind of folds on this. Something like that looks pretty nice, I guess. Maybe I want a little bit down. Make sure to not have any folds. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to again select both, right click and freeze. And then it's very interesting part is the lower part of the dress. And it has the pleat on the both side. So I'm going to first make the pleat. I just have to make it in one side, then I can just copy and paste this to the other side. Before making it, I'm going to select the add parent and split line tool, then hover over here, then right click instead of left click. And here, uniform split, and make it 3. So it divided into 3 segments and hit OK. So this middle segment will be the pleat area. All right, now I have to check the measurement of this, which is 106.5, and I want a rectangle of width of 106.5. So I'm going to select the rectangle parent tool and just single click here and type 106.5. I hope that was the thing. Yeah, this should be same, and I'm going to just make it a bit smaller for now, like this. No, just make it big. Doesn't matter that much, by the way, right now. I want to copy this, so Control C, Control V, one more time. To select this and these segments, then right click and merge here as well. So right click, merge. You can also do the calculation a little bit. So open your calculator and 106.5 into 3, and you can just make that as yeah, it's your choice. Then you can also delete these points, you don't need them. All right, now I'm going to just place it where I want to the side, like this. And now I want to select this and this, then right click, offset as internal line along curve. So I have the internal line in between, and here I type 5 and hit OK. So this will be the width of the pleats. I'm going to select all the top points, then right click, extend trim and add point to parent outline. So I have all these segments divided. It has added points to all these points, if that makes sense. Anyway, all right, now I'm going to select the pleats fold. I'm going to select here and double click here, and this should be knife pleat, and hit OK. All right, now I'm going to select pleat sewing, and from this to this, and from this to this. It will be perfect, and you can press simulate button or space button by default, and you can just make it a little bit nicer, I hope. So yeah, now you got pleat, and who doesn't love pleats? Everyone should love, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna make this bigger. You don't want this kind of thing. Yep, and also make it bigger like that. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this, which is again 106.5. I'm gonna make another 106.5. Hit OK. Should be this length. Then I'm gonna sew it normally like that. Then Control C, Control V here, and I can rotate like that. And the back side, I'm gonna again sew it. Make sure this sewing thread is straight like that. Now if I I can sew it like that, then simulate. Let's see. I don't want this like that. Yeah, but as you can see, this is not rightly in the middle, especially the back area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this point, and that point. Then I'm going to use transform point and segment tool. Then double click here in the middle to activate the pivot. Just drag it. Do not drag it too much, otherwise it will create more angle here. So otherwise it will create some problem later on. You can simulate. And make sure that they should cover the half of the back area and the front area. And without distorting the pleats. I'm going to add a little bit in the maybe in the back, not front, because front is fine. A little bit more, because the pleat should be nice. And I'm going to do is right click and deactivate the pattern with sewing. I just want the pleat to look good first. All right, I'm going to freeze this for now, and let's activate. And this should be a bit bigger, the back area. Probably like that. So I'm going to select everything, then Control D to symmetric paste to the other side. And let's select that and that, right click, deactivate. First, sit the pleat nicer. Then I'm going to freeze this and then select that and that, right click, activate it or activate. And yeah, it will just create some problem. So I'm going to that, and let's sew it to see how much tension it creates. So pretty much, but when I release the unfreeze the pleats, it will be a little bit better. Now I'm going to select that, right click, unfreeze, and it should just release some things. All right, as you can see, this area, it's not quite right. So I'm going to select that and move it, I mean curve it like that. And also, just to make sure this is in the same length, probably a little bit down. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to select all these things because this should be touching the ground. So I'm going to select that and drag it down until it covered the fit. You have to adjust this a little bit, otherwise the fit will create some clipping issue, and you don't want that. And this is starting to look okay. Just flare it a little bit. I mean, it should create a nice circular or circular like shape in the bottom, and it will look great, I'm telling you. It's just a little bit like that, and I think this looks good. What do you think? Maybe, oops, this area a little bit in the front, probably. The shape, the silhouette is so important. I think, yeah, this is looking good. Yep, that looks good. Alright guys, so the base shape, or not the base shape, the overall design is done. Before we go into detail, make sure that you do like what you have made. If this doesn't look good right now, there is no point adding more detail into it. But I hope that in your case, this is also looking okay. And yeah, let's just add those details. So I'm gonna first start with the sleeve cuff. So let's select the sleeve pattern and then right click and unfreeze. And then I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna select these and make this a little bit upward around in this area. All right, so I'm going to select this, then right click and layer clone over. So I have the same pattern on top of that. Then I'm going to right click here and remove linked editing. Then with edit sewing, I'm going to delete this sewing. Then with segment sewing, I'm going to sew the top, sew the bottom, and sew the side. So this should look like that, and I'm gonna simulate. All right, now to make this a little bit better, I'm gonna just decrease the particle distance to around 4, and also I'm gonna select these segments, then right click, offset as internal line. 5mm should be same, just leave everything as default and hit OK. Then I'm gonna again segment sew this. And when you simulate, you have the nice stitching effect on it, and I really love this kind of detail. So select that, Ctrl D to symmetric paste to the other side. And if this doesn't look good, just select that, right click on the 3D window and superimpose over. And you have something like that, which looks pretty amazing in my opinion. I'm gonna also decrease the particle distance of sleeve for like 6. So I'm gonna select this pattern, the right click and activate. So this is looking okay. I'm gonna add detail here first on this neckline. So I'm gonna select all this. So just hold shift and select this, and also in the back, the right click again, offset as internal line 8mm and hit OK. Perfect. All right, while this is selected, I'm gonna right click, add extend trim and add point to pattern outline. So I'm gonna drag this to select that. Then I'm gonna select the trace tool, right click, trace as a pattern. So I have the pattern exactly the same as this. And also I'm gonna select and drag this and trace, right click, trace as a pattern. Pretty cool. All right, now I'm going to select free sew. I'm going to sew it like that, sew it like that. Also segment sew like that, and here segment sew like this, and here free sew. I'm not doing the segment sew because I have to sew all this line. So yeah, just free sew like this and free sew like this. And I'm going to select that and that, Ctrl D, boom, and then segments to the back like that, and also the front like that. I'm going to select all 4 this in the 3D window, right click on one of them, then superimpose over. Also I'm going to decrease the particle distance like 4 and also collision thickness to 1 and simulate. So I have the neck binding effect, and also you have to sew this shoulder area like that. Make sure the sewing thread isn't reversed, so it should be straight. Yeah, sometimes it does the problem because of this solidify. So all if you do is just select those, right click and unsolidify. For now I don't want to unsolidify, but for this you have to, otherwise it just will create some problem. And again superimpose over and simulate. Yeah, this looks bad, but I'm gonna fix it, no worries. So I'm gonna select that, right click, offset as internal line 2mm, hit OK. Also here, make sure that the new line should be inside, not outside. So if you right click and internal line, it will create in the outer, in this in this side, but I want in here. So I'm gonna reverse direction like that. And also I'm gonna sew it. So I'm gonna do the same thing with that. So select this and this. No, first select that. Offset horizontal line should be inside, and this is also should be inside like that. So I'm gonna sew it like that and simulate. Right, nice. Now I'm gonna also do the same thing around this area. So I'm gonna select this. So offset horizontal line, I'm gonna go with 8, reverse direction, so it should be there. Here, okay. Then right click, extend trim and add point to parent outline. All right, instead of doing trace, I'm gonna select that, right click and layer clone over like that. Then right click, remove linked editing, also delete all the sewings. Then select this line, right click, cut, and you can delete this. Sometimes if you trace like this, I'm going to show you, the pattern does not look exactly the same as this, so that's why I did this. All right, so now I'm gonna just free sew like that, also here something like that, and also here like this. All right, I'm gonna select that and Control D to symmetric paste to the other side. I also need to sew it here and also here. It's better to keep it like this, so yeah. So I select both and then right click, superimpose over just to make sure, and make it maybe 4 and this one 1, and simulate to see this kind of detailing there. It's pretty important. And also I'm going to select all of them except this and this. Then I'm going to go in the property tab and select elastic, but make sure to have this ratio 99. You don't want too much elastic there. I'm gonna crank down the strength 4, and you can notice a little bit of shrinkage there, but it's okay. This will hold the shape without doing the solidify modifier. What? Not modify, solidify. All right, now let's make this one a little bit better. So I'm gonna select each one. Let's just do it there. Select everything, right click and layer clone under. Make sure this is under, so they all should be underneath. I think it's better to do with single, like select that, layer clone under, this should be underneath. Then right click, remove linked editing. I don't want that. You can leave it like that, but I'm gonna leave it like that. Make it 5. I'm gonna show you one with one strap, and you're gonna do all this. So like that, and then I'm gonna select this and this and this. Right click, add internal line. Probably 3 millimeters should be fine, or 2.5 I think would be nice. I'm gonna sew it. Make sure when you start, you have to end this. Don't like start in the right side and then stop in the left side. Something like that, right? Okay. Or simulate, not okay. All right, I think that looks good. And I think some of them are not very tight, as you can see here. So I'm gonna select that and make this a little bit tighter. Let's make it a little bit tighter. You can also select all of them except this and this one. Same with here, except this and this one. And guess what? The elastic, you can do 99 and 2 on the strength, so it will have this kind of thing. Don't overdo it. All right, looks good. Now I'm gonna go and do all this, do the same thing as I did here to all of these straps, and I'm gonna make right after that. All right, so here I am done with all this strap, and I think it is looking okay. But if you don't want this kind of seam here, all you can do is you can just right click on this with edit sewing tool and then merge it, so you don't have to see this seam. You can also merge this one, but honestly speaking, I'm fine with that. So yeah, if you want, you can. In real life you should, but no, I am too lazy to do that. Anyway, let's now, I'm gonna select all this and freeze, and let's make the detail on this waist part. I really love to merge it here like that, and also I like to remove the linked editing, because why not? All right, for the middle portion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, then right click and layer clone over. So this is the newer pattern on top of it, and I'm going to right click, remove linked editing, hit B to select the edit sewing tool and delete all the sewing from the newer pattern. Do not mistakenly delete from the older pattern, because all of the crazy sewings are sewn with that. So I'm going to select, and yeah, everything is good. Now there's one thing, you have to delete these points. So select all these points and delete them. Don't worry, the sewing will not be deleted, just the point. And you can also delete this point. I did this because I have found that you cannot sew if you don't delete those points. So it's kind of weird. I don't know why that happened, but anyway. So we select free sew and sew the top and sew the bottom like that. And also like this. And simulate, of course. So you have something like that. Now it's almost looking like a cushion. You don't want that. It looks very bad. So let's select all of them and decrease this by 5 maybe. And collision thickness, I'm going to go with 1, as I did with that. Now it looks like high quality cushion. You also don't want that. So I'm going to select all this top and the bottom. Then right click, offset as interval line. I'm going to go with maybe 8, or I don't know, maybe 12, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 15. Yeah, 15 is okay. And also sew it here, the segment sewing. Now you will eliminate those cushioning thing, which is better, but I think 15 might be overkill. I'm gonna go with 10 and also sew it like that and simulate. So yeah, this is looking fine, I guess. So I'm gonna freeze everything. Now see, these are the little things. I mean, it's not little, but these are the things that makes this nicer, when it looks very nice for me. I'm gonna select everything, the half of the dress, and then right click, freeze them. Select those, right click, unfreeze them. Simulate first. All right, now this part is really very easy. All you have to do is just select all of them and reduce the particle distance. But there is one amazing cool little thing that I always follow whenever I want detail on the longer part of the fabric. What do I mean by that is I like to divide them into 3 or 4 chunks, and then yeah, let me show you. So I'm gonna first try to match all of them in a similar manner, like that, also like that. You don't have to do this because these are exactly symmetric pattern. So I'm going to add a point around here, here, and also here. These should be in the same line, and also another one might be here, here, and here. And I'm going to add line like that. Should be straight like that and like that. Also here should be straight relatively, like that, and also like that. I'm gonna select all of them, then right click, cut and sew. If I don't find it, oh, because I'm gonna select these, only the internal line, then right click, cut and sew. All right, now this is divided into 3 parts. So in the first half, the first part or the chunk, select that. Also you can select that, but you don't have to. Yeah, but anyway, I will reduce it quite a lot, maybe 3. And in the middle portion, I'm gonna go with 5, and the longer in the end portion where you don't need so many detail, I'm gonna go with maybe 7. Yeah, this is still very dense, but yeah, if my PC handles it, then I'm gonna do it. And then of course simulate. So that's really the thing I follow to generally distribute the detail while making it not very hard for my computer. So yeah, that's I think everything in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found anything valuable or knowledgeable, just drop a like and subscribe so you don't forget about Refinement. Anyway, see you in the next video. Goodbye.